Welcome to another episode of Toya Talks Wrestling. Let me first apologize for how I sound. I am sick, and yeah, so I'm gonna try and get to this video as quick as possible, but we're gonna talk about some of the stuff that happened on SmackDown. We had a couple of qualifying matches for the Chamber, 2 women, 1 men's. Let's go ahead and talk about the women's Chamber. The first match we had was Bianca Belair versus Piper Niven. Bianca Belair won. She did a KOD, picking Nivens up from like the top rope, or not top rope, but the second rope, and pretty much put her in a KOD. They had a cool over the head shot, just and everything else. So obviously she won, so she'll be joining Liv Morgan in the Chamber. And then the other match we had was Alexa Bliss versus Candice LeRae. She got a huge pop. She actually came after Charlotte Flair, and I'll talk about that after. But she won by doing the Sister Abigail DDT, which I actually like. Alexa Bliss's version of Sister Abigail probably more than I like Bray Wyatt's or Uncle Howie's version of Sister Abigail. So we have that. Considering both of these matches, or both of these ladies who won, I think it would probably be, if you talk about name wise, that Bianca Belair should probably win the Chamber. I mean, I don't know who else is in the Chamber. Who else is going to be in the Chamber? I know Lyra and Bayley have a match on Monday, so Bayley will be in there. And then I don't know who else is having a match as well. I'm not sure, but I know Roxanne Perez just became a new Raw member, so she might be qualified in the Chamber. I don't see why not. She was like the last person in the at Royal Rumble. Well, not the last person, but the second to the last person. So I could see her actually having a match, in a qualifying match for the Chamber and getting in as well. But yeah, as far as like name wise, I think if Io's not going to be in it at some place, like if they don't have like a last minute Chamber match or some kind of something to get her in, I think the best bet probably would be Bianca versus Rhea. I think they need to like get Bianca Belair back into singles competition again. I think the tag title are pretty much holding her back. She helped Jade, she helped Naomi and everything else, and she did everything she could with the titles. I think it's time for her to move on into some singles competition. And I think Rhea versus Bianca Belair at WrestleMania sounds like a good card. I mean, we know Bianca Belair can make good matches. She made a great match with Becky and Sasha Banks and stuff like that at WrestleMania. So I don't see why. I mean, I'm not like, Bianca's work ethic is amazing, right? And I think it's time. I think it's time for her to, like, I don't know if she turns heel or not, but I think it's definitely time for her to just, enough with the tag team and just go ahead and put her in that singles competition again. And it's always good to see Alexa Bliss. I enjoy Alexa Bliss, so I don't know what she's gonna do during WrestleMania, but maybe they can start some kind of feud in the Chamber. Maybe she can go after Liv or something, since they are on. I think she's going to be on the Raw brand, so maybe her and Liv can do some kind of like, what do you call it? A feud or something like. Anyways, let's go on. So talk about the more ladies. We had Charlotte Flair. So Charlotte Flair on Monday talked to Rhea, and then Tuesday talked to Julia, the NXT Women's Champion. I did not watch that, but. And then she said she was there on Friday to SmackDown talk to Tiffany. Basically, now Charlotte's a little bit more playing more of a heel character now, which I think she should have just played a heel character all along, but whatever. And anyway, Tiffany's out there with her, and Tiffany's basically just saying, like, she wanted Charlotte to pick her because, she's tired of people you know, comparing her to Charlotte, and I'm just like thinking to myself, did people actually do that? Like, I've never seen it. I don't, you know. I mean, we just compare it because it's like blonde and blonde stuff like that. Well, whatever, like that. But I don't know if people actually compare her to each other, or compare her to Charlotte or not. I'm not 100% sure about that, but they might. I don't know. Anyways, you know, and Charlotte's like, oh, you need to beg me to pick you and stuff like that. Charlotte is being a real bitch and stuff like that and everything else. And then you had Nia Jax come out with Candice LeRae. By the way, this was before Candice LeRae's match with Alexa Bliss. Anyways, basically Nia Jax comes out and, you know, says, oh, all this is cute and all this blonde versus blonde is cute and everything else, but it's not going to matter because she talks to Nick Aldis, and instead of her going against 5 other women in a chamber, she's only going to go against one woman, which is Tiffany Stratton. So next week they have a match for the women's WWE title. Obviously, you know, Tiffany's going to keep it, and Charlotte's probably going to pick Tiffany Stratton and everything else. So that was pretty much that. So then we also had a segment with Drew McIntyre. So earlier online or on the internet, I saw it on my X post, not my X post, but on X, that Drew McIntyre is officially a new member for SmackDown. Nick Aldis pretty much signed him, pretty much said that, you know, he's gonna let Drew McIntyre be Drew McIntyre. That was earlier today. So then Drew McIntyre had a promo where he's basically talking about how, you know, working at Raw was like a hostile environment, and how, you know, he was always mad all the time, and he woke up this morning next to his hot wife and everything else, talking about why was he mad all the time, and goes, you know, it's like Adam Pearce doesn't know how to run a show and everything else, and Nick Aldis is like a way better manager and everything else. Then he calls out Cody Rhodes and basically told Cody Rhodes, you know, I'm coming after you. I'm coming after the belt that I was stolen from me and everything else. So then Jimmy Uso comes out, and Jimmy Uso basically is like, you know, you're always crying and whining and stuff like that. You sound like an ex-girlfriend. It's like ridiculous. Like, no one stole anything from you. You lost, okay? Get over it. It's like you just lost, right? And then Drew McIntyre's, oh, you're right. I'm sorry, Jay. I mean, Jimmy, you're both alike. It's like, it's too bad that you didn't come up with the yeet. Otherwise, you would be the Royal Rumble winner right now, and you would be a part of the star right now. And Jimmy's like, hey, look, I get what you're trying to say here. It doesn't really matter. Yeet, no yeet, it's still the same or whatever. I'm gonna punch my ticket into WrestleMania. And then LA Knight comes out, and LA Knight was like telling Jimmy, like, look, I don't have much love for you because you made me, it was you that cost me the win last year to become a champion. By the way, these 3 are going to have the Elimination Chamber qualifying match. 2 guesses on who didn't make it. Anyways, and then LA Knight did something really cool, and he basically like had like a mental message for like the men and the boys, like in Memphis, Tennessee. I think that's where they were, and around the world. Basically, he was like it's okay if you're going through some stuff and you need to cry. Go ahead and cry. It doesn't make you less of a man, and stuff like that. Which I thought it was a cool message, and I'm like, that's true. It's like, if you guys have like some shit going on in your life and everything else, and you just need to like break down and cry, it's fine. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to do it in front of anybody. You can do it in your room, in your privacy of your house or whatever. But I can understand, and I thought that was a cool message. So yeah, I definitely agree with him there. And then he's like, but you know, there is a limit to the crying and stuff like that. It's like, basically, don't be Drew McIntyre, because every day, Monday through Friday, Saturday and Sunday, all he does is cry. And he's like, I think someone in the audience member called you Drew McIntyre. I actually kind of laughed. I was like, oh, that's good. I'm like, if somebody does not have Drew McIntyre in on a fucking on a what, not a post, but sign next week on SmackDown, will be very disappointed in the WWE universe because that was actually pretty funny. They have their match, and it was a pretty good match. Not no real big shenanigans or anything like that. Even though it was triple threat match, no one did like no disclose like nothing like too crazy. There was a moment where I think Drew McIntyre was in the trio row, where basically he's hanging upside down from the top rope. You had Jimmy Uso on the top rope, kind of just about to do something, like maybe a jump on him or something like that. And then you had LA Knight also on the top rope, and Drew McIntyre pretty much grabbed both of them and just suplexed them off the top rope. That was a pretty cool move. Drew McIntyre ends up winning. Well, actually, I thought Jimmy was about to win because at one point Drew McIntyre was on the floor, on the ground, and laid out. And Jimmy Uso did the Uso splash on LA Knight, and then the referee got the count, but then when he gets to two, Drew McIntyre grabs him and, throws the referee out, which is legal because it's a triple threat match, so there's no DQ, no rules. Eventually, LA Knight was about to put Jimmy Uso in a BFT and pretty much had him in the position, but then what happened was Drew McIntyre comes in and pretty much as he's putting, as LA Knight is going for the BFT, Drew McIntyre gets them and they put him in a Claymore. So he gets the BFT on him, but then he also gets Claymored at the same time, and so did Jimmy's, and then Drew McIntyre, which was a fucking awesome move, by the way. It was fucking crazy. Drew McIntyre covers Jimmy Uso for the win, and so he'll be in the chamber, so he'll be joining John Cena and CM Punk at the chamber. I think next week for the chamber you have Damian Priest versus Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu. So that one should be fucking monstrous. It should be crazy. I don't even know who wins that one. Right. If they're trying to start something with Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre for WrestleMania, which again, I don't understand why, but if they are, I'm guessing that maybe not McIntyre, but Damian Priest will win somehow. I don't know how, but somehow. Anyway, so congratulations to Drew there. We had a great promo from Kevin Owens in his car, as always. So Kevin Owens is basically talking to Sami Zayn, talking about how him and Sami have been friends for like years and everything else, and how he was hurt, and how why he attacked him on Monday, basically saying that, because because Sami Zayn didn't do anything when Cody Rhodes was basically trying to end his career, trying to end he's gonna say life, but didn't say it, right? But you know what he was gonna say, like, he cut himself off, and he was like basically telling Sami how he was pissed off how he saw Roman Reigns getting beat up, and how Sami comes in there and tries to save Roman Reigns but doesn't want to save Kevin, and how hurt he was and everything else. And basically it was saying that Sami is going to pay. Kevin Owens is going to make Sami pay. It was a great promo. It was very emotional. He was like crying and everything else. He was showing the scars and all this other stuff, and I can't wait to see Sami and Kevin Owens go at it, because when these two go at it, they kill it every time. I never get bored of a Kevin versus Sami feud. Never. I'm pretty sure they'll have a fight in Toronto, because they're both Canadian. They're both going to be there. But here's the thing, right? I would not mind if like I said, like we said before, like me and Tim said before, I wouldn't mind for them to go to WrestleMania as well. You can even end it in like a disqualification, or better yet, a no DQ, and they can just continue the match in WrestleMania, depending on what goes on with Randy Orton. I could see Randy Orton returning that day in Toronto at Elimination Chamber, but I think they're definitely going to be in the chamber together. We'll see what happens on Monday. So the final thing I want to talk about is Jey Uso. So Jey Uso was at SmackDown. He started the show, and they did the yeet thing, and then they did these. A lot of people were complaining, saying that it was taking too long for the yeet thing. I'm like, people are excited and everything else. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean anybody else likes it. And they also stopped the music and everything else. And the crowd did the same thing they did on Raw, basically saying, one more time, and they yeeted again. And I heard a lot of people complain about it. I'm like, look, if the crowd is asking for it, then let them have it, right? And it's like, oh, it's going to be too much, or it's going to be dead, or anything else. And that's like, well, then that's the crowd's fault. Right, crowd needs to learn, right? If that's the case, right? If the crowd's asking for it, like whatever. You don't need to. I mean, granted, you don't need to do it for like 15 minutes or anything like that. I don't know if that's how long it was, but I don't think you need to do that long. But still, people, the crowd's having a good time. Let the crowd have a good time. Like, what's the big deal? Anyways, so Jey Uso, he finally gets to talk, and he talks about how much love and support he's getting from like family, friends, the fans and everything else, how he's appreciative of everything else. Talked about how he was talking to Gunther, but he said that he wanted his options and he wanted to talk to Cody Rhodes, right? So then, Cody Rhodes comes out, and Cody Rhodes talks about how him and Jay are friends, and how they had like they went to war together, and they won tag teams together, and they had a couple of drinks. I think he said libations. I'm like, oh my god, Cody's such a nerd. Anyways, and everything else, and how it would be cool and how great it would be to fight him at WrestleMania. Basically saying that, last year was his story, and this year is his story, and this year is, Jay's story and everything else. But he told Jay, look, I want to fight you, that's cool and everything else, because you're my friend, all that stuff, but I'm just saying, like, if you pick me, that's going to end. The friendship is going to end, right? So, basically, I suggest you choose wisely, or some shit like that and everything else, and he said, I hope you're okay with that, right? Because, like, basically, it's like, if you pick me, I'm going to have to beat you, right? You're going to become basically going to become my enemy, right? Well, you'll no longer be my friend, you become my enemy because you want the title, which makes sense. There's no friends on top, right? The whole saying, it's lonely at the top. It's true, it is, because it is. Anyways, they're about to shake hands and everything else, and then you hear Jacob Fatu's music come out, and he and Tama Tonga come out, and Tama Tonga goes, shh, yeah, because that's all he does. And then Jacob Fatu basically was talking to Cody, talking about how he took the title away from his family, and how he's gonna need to get that title back into the family. And then he talks to Jey Uso and says, no disrespect. He's like, congratulations and everything, but no disrespect. I don't think you're the one who's going to bring the title to the family. I'm like thinking to myself, well, he'll bring a title. It ain't gonna be Cody's title, but I mean, he'll bring a title. But and basically that, and after Jacob said that to JJ, pretty much super kicks Tama Tonga, and then Jacob Fatu pretty much attacks Jay and Cody, and then they're about to puts Cody in the corner, and he was about to do the hip thing in the corner, and then Jey Uso pretty much caught him with a super kick midway, and then they both clotheslined him over the top rope, and eventually we had a tag team main event with Jay and Cody versus Jacob and Tama. Before that, there was a couple of backstages. The Miz was talking to Cody Rhodes, basically saying that, because he had talking to somebody else. I don't know who, I forgot who he was talking to. The Miz was talking with somebody else, one of the younger guys, and he was telling, and then Cody Rhodes goes walk by, and he's like, "Hey, Cody, I was looking for you and everything else." And he's like, "We have to have each other's back, or you know, other veterans and stuff like that. People who've been here for a while have each other's back and all this other stuff." And Cody Rhodes is like, "I appreciate that, but I don't really need you to have my back." And then he's like, "Well, I don't know about that. You know, you have people coming after you at the title and everything else." And he's like saying that, you know, if Jay picks you, you're gonna have to watch your back, because I mean, Jay versus Cody Rhodes, WrestleMania sounds like a good match and everything else. So you gotta be careful and stuff like that, because once you have, I mean, you already lost your friend with Kevin, like, you know, you can lose Jay as well and stuff like that. And basically walked away, and you know, Cody Rhodes is sitting there contemplating and complexed. And then you had a segment where our truth comes to Jey Uso, and you know, gives him, says, "Congratulations, you just became becoming king of the ring," right? And you know, Jey Uso trying not to laugh. You can see he trying not to laugh and everything else. And it's like, "No, dog." He's like, "No, Uso, I won the Royal Rumble." He's like, "Oh, you won the Royal Rumble too." Like, "Oh man, congratulations," right? And I think this was after our match with Carmelo Hayes and Cesaro, and then he was talking to Jay, not Jay, but R-Truth was talking to Cesaro earlier, and Jay's like, "Man, you want to get your boy and everything? He seems like he hurt." He's like, "He's all right. He just yeeted on himself," and then you can see totally Jay trying not to laugh, right? And then Cody Rhodes comes in and basically is like, "Hey, have you decided who you're going to fight at WrestleMania? Who you're going to pick?" Right? And Jay's like, "I really want to fight you and everything else. I think it'll be a great match, but I do have issues with Gunther as well. Basically, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm confused. I'm still undecided." And he walked away. And then, of course, you know, Cody Rhodes looked complexed. Anyway, so they had their match. It was a good match. I mean, it's always a good match with these four. And eventually Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso win by Jey Uso pretty much pulls Jacob Fatu out of the ring and starts fighting outside, and Cody Rhodes puts Tama Tonga in the Cody Cutter and got the win. And you know, and then we got the return of Solo Sikoa. He pretty much Samoan spikes Cody Rhodes, and that was pretty much the end of the show. You know, Samoa, wow. Solo had like black on and everything else. He wasn't wearing like his red shirt that he would wear when he was like the tribal chief or whatever. I don't know why he's attacking Cody Rhodes. I don't know. This could be the order of, I don't think of Roman Reigns. I think it could be the order for what you call it, The Rock, because I don't really understand why we need to go, if Solo's just doing it because to challenge Cody for the title again. Why are we doing this again? Like, seriously, I don't want to go through this again. I really don't. So if this is an order from The Rock to attack Cody Rhodes, okay, cool. But I really don't know why. What are we doing? Like, I understand I understand I understand that, you know, Solo is probably going to be a factor somewhere in like WrestleMania. I don't know. I don't know if they have a match at Elimination Chamber and then he loses again, and then this time Jacob Fatu attacks Solo or something like that and making Solo a baby face. I don't know. Like, I don't know what the hell they're doing. I'm confused, honestly. Obviously something's up. I don't know. I guess we'll find out in the coming weeks of going to Elimination Chamber. But that is all. I am dying. Thank you so much for watching. Look, again, I apologize for the voice, but you know, I'm sick. I think I got one more video to do after this, and then I'm gonna go to bed. But anyways, speaking of, I will see you in my next video. Okay, bye.